No, well, obviously I've done this, but tried putting the Instagram one to it as well. I don't think it's gonna work.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
So it's like going to Instagram at the same time.
Yeah, but I don't think it's working. Yeah. Well, that's okay. It's weird.
Yeah, well, Instagram keeps changing stuff faster than you can keep up with it.
Exactly. Exactly. Switch over the chat. Awesome. We have our first viewer in. Well,
Awesome.
welcome in. We'll go ahead and get started here in about 2 or so minutes. Thank you for being the first person to join. Super excited for tonight.
So can I see what they're saying, or is that just on your end?
So if you go to the right side,
Where it says
you'll
chat?
see chat. Click that and then hit public chat.
Mm, yeah,
So
I
no
don't
one
have
said anything yet.
public chat. I just have everyone and studio chat.
Well, it would probably be everyone then for you.
That okay. Okay.
Cool.
Did you see my cup?
Yeah, I do. Looks great.
Do you know what it is?
Oh yeah, of course. That's C3PO.
I thought it was appropriate today for what we're going to talk about. So,
Absolutely. Welcome in. Welcome in. All right. I'm gonna post the link here on my Instagram, and then we'll get started.
okay.
Welcome in, everyone. We're gonna get started here in about 1 minute. Just finishing up a post, and then we'll go ahead and get started. Lots of great stuff to go over today, so you do not want to miss it. But thank you all again for showing up and taking time out of your busy Mondays. So this will be great. Right after this, I have a nice date with calculus, so stay tuned for that. That's going to be wonderful as
That sounds
well.
like fun.
Yes, it is. I got a big test on Friday, so I have to make sure I'm studying and getting that all good to go. But yep, here we go. 30 seconds more, and then we'll get started, I promise. Link. Awesome. Cool. All right. Well, we will go ahead and get started then. Thank you all so much for joining in. Well, to start off, we're going to go ahead and just give an update on what the Martin Memo has been doing, as well as Martin Media. So, first of all, we have now had 5 iterations, or actually tomorrow, or Wednesday rather, it'll be 5 iterations of the poison trap, essentially, of all the terrible things that are in our diets, that are potentially in the vaccinations, and that excuse me, and that are also around us every day, from those candles to whatever it may be. So that is going to wrap up on Wednesday. It was a 5-part series. I think we're going to continue to do series like that. It's super simple, super easy to navigate. So yeah, it's been great. I'm looking forward to wrapping it up on Wednesday, and then I'll go into my next one, which I'm either going to do the unsung heroes of America, or how America came to be, kind of exploring the different branches of government, how they were formulated, the kind of thought process behind it. So we'll see which one I end up doing first, but those are coming up here in the near future. As far as Martin Media, we are trucking along. We have done a lot of great work. We've been super busy. We finally got a true business account, so those are things that we're big wins for us. And then we've been slowly navigating, building the app and the website. So good things are coming. Again, we plan on launching on July 1st. So stay tuned for that. But we have, we're just going to continue trucking along and making things happen. So that is new on that front. And then obviously, been a little out of the loop. I haven't been as active because I've been busy on calculus and different things like that. So please give me some grace. But other than that, I think we'll go ahead and get into the main event of the night. And we have a special guest. Kevin Martin is joining me today. So Kevin, how are you feeling today?
I'm feeling great. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. It's a pleasure to have you on. So, for the people that don't know who you are, who is Kevin Martin? What do you do? Any hobbies? Just give us a little synopsis.
Well, I'm a father to a really great kid, and I'm a private chef in Florida. And hobbies are like pickleball a lot, and golfing, and anything active, and obviously cooking because I'm a private chef. And I love nerdy stuff like space and science fiction and crazy like that. So that's one of the things we're going to talk about today. Is this week is the launch of Artemis 2, going to the moon. We're going back to the moon. So I think that's what we want to talk about today because it's happening on Wednesday.
Yeah, there we go. So, we'll go ahead and touch up on that here in a second. Before we move on, you said that you are a private chef. Talk a little bit about that. What do you do? What's some of your favorite dishes, if you will? Here's a chance to market yourself out there.
All right. So private chef, basically I go into people's houses and do private parties in their house. It's like bringing the restaurant into their home without all the noise and having to have a reservation and all those things. So people can actually really engage with each other in their private home without having all the distractions of a restaurant, but still get the whole restaurant experience. So the elevated food, the service, all that stuff, but without anything else. As far as some favorite dishes, probably one of my favorite is one that I created called Capra Speziato, which is spiced goats, and it is goat cheese baked in a garlic confit with chilies, capers, poppy seed, some parsley, and then it's served hot, and then you spoon it with that beautiful oil and that cheese all over some bread, and it's just wonderful.
Yeah.
Little bit of spice, a little bit of sweet, a little bit of tang from the goat cheese. It's wonderful.
Yeah. I think that's one of my favorite dishes that you've made.
Oh, I know it is. You love your cheese.
Yes, I do.
Go
I
Wisconsin boy.
definitely do.
Go with
Yeah.
cheese every time.
Absolutely. But awesome. Well, again, thank you for joining today and thank you for sharing that. And if you have not already, you go ahead and make sure you follow him and stay up to date with all his wonderful recipes and all the wonderful posts that he's been making. And hey, potentially you could have a private chef come to your home. But moving on to the big subject of the night, and that is Artemis 2. So you are a big nerd. You said you like this. Just go ahead. What is Artemis 2? What is this whole space exploration? What does that mean to us? Just go ahead and lay it down.
Okay. So Artemis 2 is the second launch of the Artemis program, which is the U.S.'s return to the moon. So we've already had one launch. It was on-man test flight, just to test the technology. Artemis 2 now is a manned flight, and it's going to go around the moon. So we're actually going to the moon. We're not going to land on the moon, but we're going to go around the moon. And the reason we're not landing on the moon is, there's a lot of technology we need to test. And I know we've been to the moon before, and people are like, oh, we've been to the moon. Why do we need to test it? This is a whole different technology. The first time we went to the moon, like, the fact that we were able to do it and not more people died is spectacular because we were just flying by the seat of our pants. It was not well thought out. I mean, we did the best we could for the technology at the time, but it was nothing like we have today. So they're being a lot more thoughtful about it. And there's a different mission this time. The first time, the reason we were going to the moon was, we're in a space race with Russia, and the goal was get to the moon. Putting boots on the moon was the mission. And that's all we need to accomplish. This time it's a little different. Getting to the moon is one thing, but our mission is a lot broader time. It's a lot more long-term and futuristic pointed. So, but we can talk about some of that later. Let's go back to the mission. So on Wednesday is the launch of Artemis 2. So it's a 4-person crewed mission that's going to launch hopefully on Wednesday. We'll make an elliptical orbit around the Earth, and then we'll do a trans-lunar transfer. I didn't say that right. But basically, they're going to go around the moon and come back, and they're not going to orbit the moon and then come back and land. Take 10 days.
Okay. Wow. So that's insane, and I think this is going to be huge. This is obviously one of your big things that you are excited about, and you pretty much always text me updates on the new rockets that are going into space or the new space missions. So this is really cool, and it's something that you're really passionate about. Who is this? NASA doing this? Is this SpaceX? Is this
So
who's doing
yes,
this?
this is NASA. Great question. This is NASA.
Okay.
So the Artemis program overall is going to the moon. In the first 3 launches will be mostly NASA. There is a Boeing component to it in the Orion spacecraft, but it is run completely by NASA, designed and built by NASA, run by NASA. Later iterations, SpaceX or Blue Origin have lunar landers that will be integrated into it, so there'll be a partnership there. But it's greatly important for so many reasons, not just the science aspect and the coolness of space exploration, but just getting the footprint into space, and that's why NASA's leading it. Blue Origin has their own company agenda for what they want to see with space, and SpaceX has theirs, but this is kind of trying to bring everybody together under one, U.S. flag. And it's actually more than U.S. flag, but which is great about it is, one of the astronauts is from Canada. So we're bringing in a coalition. There's parts of it that are from South Korea. A couple other countries have aspects involved with it as far as like the research goes, and modules and CubeSats and stuff like that. So
Yeah. Wow, that's really exciting. I'm excited to see this launch and to hear all about it. I'll probably, for the first time ever, I watched a video on the entire launch the other day, which was pretty cool. So I look forward to doing the same thing for this. You follow, what's his name again? The rocket guy that you're super obsessed with?
Oh, on YouTube?
Yep.
Everyday Astronaut, Tim Dowd. Yes.
Okay.
If anybody wants to know how a rocket actually works and get technical, he is absolutely wonderful. He has such a grasp of the engineering and everything that goes into a rocket, but he explains it in such a way that it's engaging and is easily digestible for somebody who's not an engineer, which is wonderful.
Yeah. And then where do you think that we are going to go with this? Do you think it's just going to stop here? Do you think we're going to go and actually land on the moon? Do you think this is going to be for broader research to potentially Mars and the colonization of Mars? Where do you think we're at right now?
So there's a whole lot of things there that are all separate but integrated. The Artemis program is to not just land on the moon, but actually build a moon base. So permanent 24/7, 365 days manned base on the moon.
Yep.
And that's, from a scientific standpoint, that's amazing. But there's also some geopolitics involved and other things. So the first person that gets on the moon gets to define what the rules really are, because we've never been there. Nobody's ever done this. This is not something that, before we went to the moon and we landed on the moon. So the first space race between us and Russia was ahead of us, and we caught up. And the goal was to get to the moon. And as soon as we put boots on the moon, we won. And Russia changed their space program. We changed the space program. We shifted because no longer was the moon a priority. We went 6 times, and we're like, all right, good, we're good. Let's do something else. We won. Yay. But this time it's different because just getting to the moon is not enough. The race between us and China is getting to the moon and building a base. Because once you build a base, then you get to create this exclusion area where you say, you can't, nobody else can fly, put anything near us for safety, right?
Yep.
And there's no treaties, there's nothing defined what this all means.
Right.
So the first person to actually get first country to get a base on the moon is going to define what that means and try and enforce it. And there'll be some fighting back and forth, but the first mover is going to have the advantage and get to kind of write the narrative of what it looks like. So if China beats us, that's huge for China, and that's not good for us. And that's why, these missions are hugely important. Is there's geopolitical implications that go far beyond just the moon, because now we're talking about those same rules will apply to asteroids that have incredibly dense minerals and rare minerals that we want, right?
Yep.
So we're writing the rules for the whole universe, really.
Yeah.
As far as we can reach.
Yeah.
So the implications are huge.
Yeah. And you got a comment here. Musk wants to occupy Mars, so chances are it's going to happen. Now, you have, I won't even say a theory because it's actually true, but most people don't realize what Elon touches every single day on the Earth. That's going to translate to the potential colonization of Mars. Can you kind of walk through that? I know there's a lot, so maybe give it a summary, but
I'll try and keep it brief. But yeah, when you look at Elon, everything he does is for colonizing Mars. That is the stated mission of SpaceX from the day one, was getting a colony on Mars, 1 million people on Mars. And his theory behind it is that, when you look at the history of the Earth, there's all kinds of things that happened that wiped out everything, and there's just a matter of time before our species get wiped out. So becoming multiplanetary is just smart if we want to survive as a species. And it's the next step from going from multiplanetary to multi-solar and going beyond our solar system.
Yep.
So when you look at everything he does, like if you have a colony on Mars, you need to have a way to get to different places, because you can have a colony here, but there's not going to be enough resources in any one spot on Mars. So you need to be able to go to places to mine and get water and different stuff. And so, like when you look at the Boring Company, like it's a perfect setup for building tunnels on Mars. It's nice and small. It's easily movable. It's not like some of the big giant boring companies that already existed before he started the Boring Company. It is almost designed to put on a spaceship and launch it to Mars.
Yep.
And it's a perfect sized tunnel to drive Cybertrucks to and bring, automated driving, bringing back forth minerals back and forth to where you need them. Yep. Even with X, and now he's launching the monetary platform on X. You're on your own colony. You need your own banking system. You need your own communications. Everything that is involved with X now is all things that we need on Mars. Yeah. So I truly believe that he's like doing all these things because he wants to build a colony on Mars, and he's trying to create them now, so when we get to Mars, that it's ready to go. Even the robots, Optimus, launch those on a spaceship and drop them off and have them start building stuff. So when we get there, it's already there.
Right. Yeah, I think you're absolutely right, and I didn't realize how big it truly is and how big the grand scheme of things are. So this is actually very interesting, and hopefully some viewers out there got something from this. Well, chat, before we move on to our next little topic here, go ahead, load it up, ask some questions. I got the planet man, if you will, here to answer any of your questions about space and Artemis and colonizing Mars, everything out there. So go ahead, load up the chat, ask them some questions, say some things, give your thoughts on this. But yeah, no, I think this is really, really cool. Let's see right here. I'm getting excited. Can't wait to tell my kids, remember when we weren't able to visit Mars?
I mean, that's a good point too. Like it changes, it's going to change so fast. My parents were the ones that watched it happen live, landing on the moon. And now, like, we're going to space. We're launching almost every day. somewhere in the world, somebody's launching a rocket to space almost every single day. It's crazy.
Yeah. When if you had to give a timeline, the Kevin timeline, where do you think that how long do you think before we colonize Mars? If you just had to guess.
Oof. That depends on who's doing it and what the goal is.
Yeah.
Putting 10 people on Mars is probably feasible if we want to just do that within 7 years. If we actually want to build a million people colony and put the infrastructure there to really do it thoughtfully, at least over 10 years.
Yeah.
But we know, and it's hard to say because, with AI changes things a lot because technology is accelerating so fast.
Right.
And as long as we can create the technologies and have the money and the resources and the drive behind it and the will behind it, we can go pretty fast. I mean, you look at the original Apollo program for the time, it was incredible what they were able to accomplish. And that wasn't just the money, that was having the will. Without that will to do it, it's never going to happen. You need to have that will and the drive and that, 400,000 people behind it pushing all in the same direction saying, yes, we're going to do this. We're going to make it happen as fast as we can.
Right.
So, it can happen fast if we choose to. It's just a matter of whether or not we choose to.
Well, knowing Elon Musk, I feel like this will be definitely accelerated, but we'll find out.
Yep.
We have another comment here. Can't wait to tell my kids. I remember the time we were still able to live on Earth. Yep. I think it's very fastly approaching here, and we'll see what happens over the next 5, 10, 15, 20 years. So I think it'll be really interesting. Now, you touched up on AI a little bit, and I also happen to know that you're pretty much a wizard with AI, if you will.
Well, I wouldn't say that. I'm just learning. But
well,
yeah,
I think you're pretty above everyone else. You're definitely above everyone else. You're probably in the top 10% as far as AI users actually knowing the prompts, actually knowing how to utilize AI to the full benefits that it has to offer. So just I guess my next question here is just talk to us a little bit about AI. Obviously, there's 3 different phases of AI. Wyatt, who's another fantastic guest that I had here earlier, a month or 2 ago, he had said that the next step of AI he felt was within a year, when most people say maybe 5 to 10 years. Just I want to hear your overall thoughts on AI, where we're at, and who has the best AI.
Well, see, the thing is with the current version of AI that we have right now, I don't know that there's a best. It depends what you're trying to do. And they've changed, every time they come out with a new model, they do things better and they're evolving. So, there's no best. It's just a matter of using the one that is best for what you're trying to accomplish. They're a tool, right? Yep. So, you're not going to use a hammer to try and cut through a piece of wood, right?
Yeah.
No. But you're also not going to use a saw to try and drive in a nail. So you got to use the right one at the right time and use them the right way. So right now, I think the best thing is just understanding how prompting works. Yeah, you can talk in basic language, but if you just say, go do this complex thing in 2 sentences, it's going to be, okay, I'm going to fill in the blanks of everything you left out. And it's just going to assume a whole bunch of things. And then you might get something that you're like, that is not at all what I meant. That comes down to you just didn't prompt it properly. So if you prompt it properly, they can do some pretty amazing things. They still have hiccups and do crazy stuff. So you need to be like, nope, that's not right. Let's try again and correct them. But you can do quite a lot with them. The next step then would be when we get to AGI, which is artificial general intelligence, which is where an AI can be trained, but then it can teach itself new skills. So if it was trained here, it may be able to say, hey, I can take this, what I learned here, and apply it to this field, and it will work the same, but it takes the skills that it learned from something else and applies them to something new and can actually kind of almost learn. And then the next step when you get beyond that is artificial superintelligence, where the AI now becomes so smart that it actually knows more than we do, and it teaches stuff beyond what we could even put in input. It actually is creating its own knowledge, which that's where it gets scary, right? Because now all of a sudden it's like either it's going to be amazing and it's going to teach us so much and work with us and be an amazing partner, or I think Elon clocked it at like 20 some percent chance that it's going to be an Armageddon and it's going to try and wipe us off. And,
Yeah. Yeah. I think 20% is a little high of a number. I think it's a little higher than I'd like to see. But hopefully the other half prevails, and hopefully
Armageddon and wiping the species off the face of the planet is probably too high. But I think it's one of those things, the genie's not going back in the bottle at this point.
Yeah.
So
right.
We got to figure it out because it ain't going to stop. I mean,
right. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're 100% right. We have a couple questions and statements here in the chat before we move on. Full inhabitation won't happen for 30 years. That's what someone's guess was. Yeah, all my siblings and relatives in high tech claim we still have a long way to go until AI fully takes over. And then I finally got my top commentator crown back, and don't you dare take it away again. Little rivalry right there in the chat, but yeah, I think it's closer than a lot of people realize. Like I said, I had one of Wyatt Johnson, who I would probably say is an expert in AI. A lot of the predictions put it 2 to 15 years out. He says he thinks it'll happen within a year, as far as AGI. So I guess we'll see what all happens, but I think that's a very real possibility. You see these new models. Someone, ChatGPT, they just unleashed their latest model, I think 2 weeks ago now, and someone basically replicated a complete Minecraft world, like a whole Minecraft game in itself within 30 minutes. I mean, that is just unbelievably remarkable. So I think that it's slowly getting, I wouldn't even say slowly, it is fastly getting better and more tech savvy. So it'll be interesting.
Well, and that's the whole thing, is that there's this exponential growth with it, where the technology drives faster iteration of the technology, which makes it go faster and faster.
Yeah. Yep. 100%. Cool. I do want to go on to our next topic here. Well, actually, first, before we move on, have you built anything cool with AI, or what's the coolest thing that you've maybe created with AI that you can share with the audience?
So I did build. I built my first app with it. It is a Disney trivia app. About 1,500 questions. All things Disney parks, movies, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Do you think that you'll be able to launch it here soon?
Well, I'm really hoping that Apple will approve my dev accounts one of these days and get back to me. So right now I'm just waiting on them to take their time and do their Apple thing. And it's a frustrating process dealing with Apple.
Yeah. Yes. So I've realized.
What's that?
So I've realized as well.
Yeah, you've learned exactly how difficult it can be. So working on it.
Here you go. You got a question. I was just going to ask, does he have an app that does integration with AI? You use Claude, if I'm not mistaken, correct?
I primarily use Claude, but I also use Grok.
Yeah, nice. Those are I don't really use Claude as much. I probably should here in the near future. I use Google Gemini. Google Gemini has really stepped it up. And then I also use Grok as well. Two really solid ones. If you had to guess, I know, again, it's kind of a blanket statement, because depending on what your niche is and what you want to do, that's the AI that you're going to gravitate to. But if there was like a certain one that maybe kind of leads the pack in any way, could you say one off the top of your head that you think leads the pack?
I think ChatGPT, at least previous. I don't know if the new version. Previous versions, like having a conversation, like if you want to brainstorm, just talk and bounce ideas off of it. I think ChatGPT was really good at that. Grok seemed, at least was, I don't know, again, as iterations change, things change fast. But Grok has always been strong in trying to do research. And if you want to like find the facts on things, it was good at doing that kind of research. Claude is great at coding and building things. Gemini, kind of more universal. I don't know if it has anything that's super strong yet, but pretty good across the board.
Yeah. You have another question here. Do they, Claude and Grok being, integrate payment checkouts and other third-party integration? How does that entire process work?
What was the question?
Do they, meaning Claude and Grok, integrate payment checkouts and other third-party integrations within, or how does that work? I think for like designing an app.
So I'm guessing if you build, are they asking if you build an app in there?
That's what I'm assuming. Yep.
Yeah, I mean you can. So you'd have like, that's all things that you put in. So when you're prompting it, the research you do before, the groundwork you do before you build an app. You can't just say like, hey, go build me an app, and it's going to go build you something, but it's probably going to be pretty garbage. So you really need to do your own research and figure out like, your tech stack, do your research, figure out what you want it all to do, and actually spell it out to a T. And then it can really build you some good stuff.
Yeah.
But it's not magic where you can just say, hey, go build it, and it's going to go like figure it all out. It will, but it's probably not all going to work, and going to have a lot of error codes, and it's not going to work as well as you think it is. But if you spend the time yourself and figure out what you want to use for those things and say, hey, use this and use this and use this, and tell it exactly what you want to do, even so much as far as, I'll go into Figma and do the designs in Figma and pull those wireframes in and drop them in there and say, hey, this is what I want it to look like. And everything from, top down. Some of the prompts are, well, not prompts, but I drop them in as documents, and 30, 40 pages worth of documents. Just tell it everything that it needs to do and say, reference this at every step of the way. This is how I want it built. This is what I want to use, and all those things. And then it will do those things.
Wow. That's insane. I really have to get behind this because this is just making the neurons in my brain fire off right now. So this is really cool. Yeah, it's a lot. It seems like it, but yeah, that's awesome. Oh, so the follow-up question on that, but can I have it integrate Stripe payment for me, or do I have to enter API keys myself, etc.?
So you'll probably have to generate the API keys yourself and then drop those in there. But if you give it to them, then they can integrate them into the product.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. There you go. I do want to ask.
There are some other ways to do it. Where if so, like Claude has some MCPs that you can do that with. I don't know which ones are there for that. If Stripe has one of them where you might be able to do it without having to do it yourself and have it work through there. I don't know for sure, but it's pretty easy to just generate the key and drop it in there and tell them what to do.
Yep. There you go. Simple as that, right?
Yeah,
if only it was actually that simple.
It's not quite that simple, but yes.
Yeah. I do want to talk on one of the hardest things with AI, and that is, where do we regulate it at? And do you think we should regulate it at? And if so, do you think it should come from the states? Do you think it should come from the federal government? Maybe a mixture of both? Where do you stand on that? This is one of the hardest arguments out there.
It's really hard, and the problem is going to be that it's going to move so fast that governments aren't going to be able to keep up. So I mean, everybody's going to should have a hand in it, whether you're the consumer, the end user, the people building it, or the governments. Everybody should be working together to try and make that happen. If you see somebody doing AI that, is not being done in a ethical way, step away from it. Stop. Don't use it. Refuse to use it. Boycott it. Because otherwise, I mean, the government cannot keep up with it. The government moves too slow. There's no way they can regulate it fast enough to keep it. And if they try and put up guardrails, they're going to be too late, and they're going to be too restrictive, and they're not going to do what's intended. So we really need like this, global approach approach of everybody kind of trying to work together and just calling it out and trying to fix it, because it's uncharted territory. We've never done anything like this before.
Right.
It's not like anything that we've done before can ever apply to this. It's completely different, and it's going to take a different approach, and it's going to take people being open-minded and trying to figure it out.
Yeah. Absolutely. I think that's an appropriate answer. It's going to be interesting. Again, this is uncharted territory. We've never seen anything like this. This is bigger than the internet, and the internet was huge. So this will be interesting, again, how it all plays out. But this is something that is going to probably be a constant battle for the next 20 plus years. So, yeah, great insight on that. We have a couple more comments here. Problem is we're competing with China. Yeah, that is a big concern. That's why we can't restrict
That
it. I
is.
know the Biden
Yep.
administration had restricted it pretty hefty to start with, and then it seemed like kind of got rolled back a little bit, and especially under President Trump. But that is something that we have to take in account too.
Yeah, because we can make regulations here, but that doesn't mean anybody else is going to
Exactly.
abide by them, and then it's still going to be in the same boat. So,
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I tell you what, I'm gonna let you pick the next topic. I've asked you, I've quizzed you on AI, I've quizzed you on NASA and space exploration. So now you get to quiz me, or just kind of talk about a topic that's near and dear to your heart, or something that you want to talk about. Obviously, there's a plethora of topics to choose from. You have Iran, you have Epstein, if you still want to talk about that. You have 20 million topics, so go ahead and pick your poison.
All right, let's hear your thoughts on the protests this weekend, the No Kings protests.
Yeah.
Since that's relevant.
Yeah. Oh, well, before I give my full take on that, I created I've never been a person that's really created memes. I've done a couple here, but I was like, you know what? This feels like the perfect weekend to start and just create some memes. So I did. One was, I can't wait for our No Kings Day, which is on July 4th. I think the Democrats summarized it best, and I made sure to take a screenshot of it. They said, "No kings ever since 1776," or something along those lines. No kings since 1776. There you go. And I'm like, you're absolutely right. Wow, like, you know exactly what's happening. That's crazy. But anyways,
One
so
of
I
them actually
created
figured
this.
it out. Holy cow!
Yeah, they figured it out. Wow. So my first meme was, I can't wait for our No Kings Day on July 4th. I know, kind of a bad meme, but at least to me it was funny and it was creative. The opposite, I actually got from inspiration from you. You said, I know what No Kings, why they oppose No Kings. Work king, think king, fact checking, and yeah, I think that's great. So I think that's pretty accurate on what they oppose. They oppose those three things for sure. Honestly, just looking at it, I don't think that it paints them in a positive light. Even the independents and Republican, the people that they're trying to pull away, I don't think it paints them in a positive light, because half the time they're not even serious. They're crawling on the ground, acting like a dog. They're wearing a dinosaur costume. They're walking around with orange paint on their face and wearing a diaper. The image and what they think that they're doing, it does not correlate, and it makes them look bad. So yeah, I think I think it was again just a complete waste, and it was like, okay, cool story, bro. But again, there's no real substance to it, and they're just angry. But I'd love to hear your take. I know you're very strong, opinionated on this one.
So one of the things that struck me was watching all the people getting interviewed, and there was this one lady who was attending, and that she was asked about all the communist flags and the Hamas flags and blah blah blah. And she said, in every group there's going to be extremists, and we can't help that, but that doesn't define us, and that's not why I'm here. But then what struck me was, she's holding this sign that was a printed sign that she was handed, and it has I don't remember which group it was, but one of the socialist communist pro-communist socialist groups. And the thing that struck me was that this was a global, organized, well-funded by communists. The Communist Party is funding these protests.
Right. Yeah, I think that. Yep, I can hear you.
So my thought was, oh, honey, they're the ones, this is their protest. You're the outlier who's showing up because you're their useful idiot. And you don't even realize it. You think you're showing up because you hate Trump, but it has nothing to do with Trump. They are trying to push communism, and you are just their useful idiot, and you don't even realize it.
Yeah.
They're paying for everything. They're organizing it. It's their protest. It is not your protest. You are just there to fill up the space and make them look better.
Right. I want to hear your thought in chat. Just can we confirm that you guys can still hear Kevin? Can everyone still hear him? Oh, it looks like we may have lost him there for a second. We'll give him a chance to come back in. But yeah, he's absolutely right. I think I had seen a report, and until he comes back, I think I had seen a report that said $25 billion in total was spent on this protest, from handing out the signs to organizing it to all that. To me, this reminds me a lot of the Black Lives Matter protest. And my big thing about the BLM protest, it looks like you're back. Hello.
Sorry. I don't know
No,
what happened
there you go. Yeah, no, you are all good. Yeah, did you want to go ahead and continue on your statement?
So that was just it, is that, it is their protest, and these other people who are, coming out to speak out against Trump, they're just there to fill in. They're the useful idiots as well for the communists and the socialists, and they don't even realize it.
Yeah. How deep do you think this all goes down? I know a lot of people will instantly call, and we had someone call it out right there in the chat, George Soros, and rightfully so, but I think it goes a lot deeper than that, and there's not a lot.
George Soros is just tip of the iceberg.
Yeah.
Money goes way deeper than that.
Yeah. I don't know if you had seen that report. It said $25 billion was spent on making this No Kings protest happen over this last weekend. I don't know if I believe it was that high of a number, but they put a lot of money into it.
But you look at the global numbers, like how many different protests there were, all the signage and all the infrastructure just to manage that. It's huge. I mean, you have to have people whose full-time job it is to organize these things and get people and tell them where to go and know where they're going to go and plan it all out nonstop. It's a huge network.
Yeah. Yeah, and you look at, you kind of touched on it, but the signs, these signs, the last signs, they've been lackluster, the kind of the typical stuff. A lot of these signs, though, seems laminated, seems on plastic, like yard signs. They seem like good, solid material, not the cheap crap that they normally give out. It looks like they've upped their game and probably had some more donors support their No Kings rally this weekend.
Yeah, well, you can definitely tell where the truly organized protests are and the actual grassroots are, because the grassroots ones show up and they have signs they made at home, and the truly organized ones that are the funding behind it are with carts and carts and carts of the same signs.
Yeah,
and start handing them out.
Insane, and we've seen that before. I had seen footage the other day of them kind of in an old business, if you will, or where an old business would have been, and completely everything blacked out, the windows, wood, or at least you could not see inside, and then they were hauling just boatloads of signs and materials into a car to go distribute elsewhere. It's insane how big this network actually is and how people don't realize how far it stems. It's insane.
They've been around for 100 years. They've been working on this, laying the networking groundwork for 100 years.
Yeah. Who do you think is directly responsible? I know you said the socialists and Marxists. Do you think there's a certain country that's behind this, like a China or a Russia, Iran? Do you think there's a true country behind it, or is it just like the ideological movement itself? Where do you think?
I mean, obviously, China is definitely spending a lot of money. We've seen that money come from China. You look at the recent flotilla to Cuba, definitely connected to China, 100%. I mean, billionaire from China, of course. He's active member of the CCP. So yes, China is definitely behind it. As far as Iran goes, I'm sure they're throwing some money into it too, just because of my enemy's enemy is my best friend, right? So you have a little bit of the Islamic extremists are trying to use the communists, and the communists are trying to use the Islamic extremists because we're their shared enemy. They want the U.S. to fall. It's not even just the West; it's the U.S. The U.S. is their big target. If they can topple the U.S., they think they've won, and then the whole world is their oyster. And let's face it, both of them have the same goal: is to take over the world and have it all either be Islam or communism, right? Both of them. That's their goal. Is they can't abide in a world where people have different opinions than them. Everybody has to be what they believe in, whether it's communism or Islam. So that's what they share, and they're working together. And the really crazy irony of it is neither one of them could live with each other. So even if they do topple the U.S. and get rid of capitalism, then there's going to be a fight between which one of them gets to win after that.
Yeah. Who would your money be on?
In that, I don't know. That would be a tough one. That'd be a tough fight. Let's hope it. I mean, I'm going to put my money on the U.S. because, we're allowing it to happen right now. But if you look at the history of the U.S., we're despite what some people claim about us, we tend to be a very patient and tolerant country until you get to the point where it's too much FAFO, and then it's like, okay, now it's time for the FO part of our program.
Yep.
So keep pushing the envelope, and you're going to find out what happens.
Yep, 1,000%. I do want to talk, and we're taking pretty much a 180 on this conversation here, but this is something that I do want to bring up, and I know that you have your concerns, and I have my concerns with it. The America First, and I'm not talking about that watered down version that a lot of people in my generation especially claim that they're a part of. I'm talking about the Nick Fuentes version that's pretty much anti-American, if you can really summarize it down, despite it having the fancy label of America First. I just want you to talk about that, maybe kind of inform some people here who don't really know what the Nick Fuentes version of America First is, and just if you want to kind of give a summary on that.
First of all, I don't think Nick Fuentes even knows. I think he's just a shock jock who's trying to get clicks and likes and views by saying whatever outrageous thing he can. I don't think he's actually has a true thought. He'll just keep flip-flopping and changing his position. But as far as what you're talking about is where it's not even America First, it's just isolationism.
Yeah.
Isolationism isn't putting America first. It's just burying your head in the sand and pretend stuff's not going on in the rest of the world. We don't live in a vacuum. Yeah. The rest of the world affects America whether we like it or not, and we have to deal with it. And we can either deal with it by ignoring it, paying people off, or trying to fix stuff. Yep. I think that's exactly what's going on in Iran right now. It got to the point where it's like, you know what? It's never going to get better. It's never going to get better. So if we can drop bombs on them and destroy everything and then walk away and not put boots on ground, that's great.
Yeah.
But having Iran the way it is, not in the Middle East, is a great thing. It's great for the Iranian people, but it's great for the entire Middle East. It's great for the entire world. They fund so much terrorism. They cause so many problems in the whole Middle East. Iran, the Islamic regime, the IRGC, and Iran being gone would be a great thing for everybody.
Yeah. Why? So a big thing, and they make it way more of an issue than it truly is, and they try to definitely hide some fake numbers in there. But you support the U.S. attacking Iran. You're not one of the people that believe that we're in the wrong or that we're just Israel's puppet. You want to explain yourself? Because again, a lot of people want to side and say that we shouldn't be doing what we're doing, and Trump promised no new wars. Can you maybe clarify what's actually happening for the people that might be misinformed?
So as far as us being Israel's puppet, that's just ridiculous. I mean, Israel, what? How? Come on. They're the little bit of money that they give us. Come on, no. And even the money that we give them, most of the money we give them we don't actually give them money. You do realize, like, most of the money that funds Israel is money that is basically, hey, we're going to pay for you to have weapons bought from U.S. manufacturers, which is still good for the U.S. You know, it's good for economically anyway.
Yeah.
But having a true open democracy in the Middle East is a good thing. We have interest in that. Israel not being in the Middle East and it being overtaken by other countries like Iran, where you have Islamic extremists taking over, would not be good for us. We don't want that to happen. So we're not Israel's puppet, but we have shared interests. We definitely have interest in them staying and being there and being a democracy and being an open society, because that's what we want the whole world to be. If the whole world was an open democracy and people just got along, that's how we end up stopping the wars in the first place.
Yeah.
But having the theologies like in Iran right now, that wars are never going to stop. They're always going to want to kill everybody and convert them to the religion, and it's never going to go away unless we have open democratic societies.
Yep.
And for too long, even the UN, I mean, the UN is behind these, they fully behind countries like Iran.
Yeah.
Which is ridiculous. Like, if we want to have if the UN was truly about peace, they would not be supporting countries like Iran that are doing the human rights violations and the horrible things that they do. Supporting terrorism, it's not okay, and they do it. So if we want to fix that, we need to get rid of those countries and those people. It's the only way it's going to get better.
Right. We have a couple comments here that I do want to catch up on.
Well, I'm sure we do now.
Yeah. NF Nick Fuentes clearly mentioned he doesn't stand for what our founding fathers did. I have the video. Personal opinion, Nick Fuentes is a man with a liberal mindset plus far-right ideology, which equals deranged. Yeah, that's probably a pretty good summary right there. This isn't a new war. It's national security. 100% agree. We pay them to do our dirty work. Y'all have no idea how much dirty work, spying, intelligence, and tech Israel does for the USA in secret. It's an essential
Mossad is one of our greatest assets.
Yeah. Yep.
The Mossad. Let's not forget Beirut. So, how many hundreds of Marines were killed?
Right. Yep. How quickly a lot of people are just want to forget things like that and turn their back on the administration. I personally trust the president. I personally believe that he has America's best interest forward. I don't think he's going to get us involved in a useless war or a useless anything like that. I don't think that is the mindset. He has America's best interest forward. So this is great, and I'm glad we got to talk about this. The fact that Iran is now randomly attacking all their neighboring countries shows us how important this war. Yeah, I had seen that they're going after Turkey now. They're just going everywhere. They just said F it. We're about to be cooked anyways. We're done. Yeah.
Iran has not gotten along with any state in the Middle East in 40 some years. Iraq, Qatar, all of them. Saudi Arabia. Nobody's friends with Iran.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, but what about the people that say this is going to destabilize the region? Do you believe that? I think that would make the region more stable because you're getting rid of probably the big bully or the person that wants to kill everyone. I don't know. That could just be me, though.
They made the same argument with Iraq. And yeah, there was some destabilization with Iraq in the beginning, but now look at Iraq. Now they're having pretty free, open elections. Iraq is a pretty stable country, and we did it a lot different. So hopefully we do it a little bit better than Iraq this time, and we don't put grounds on boots and try the whole same thing again, and we do it a little smarter and different way.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Before we move on to our final 1 to 2 topics here, I'm going to ask the audience actually to put us on the hot seat and go ahead and ask a couple questions or anything you want us to address. Whether it's about health, whether it's about vaccinations, whether it's about what we're talking about now, whether it's anything. You pick it. We will go ahead and talk about it here. taxes. It does not matter. We're here to answer your questions and maybe just have a little fun as well. So go ahead and we'll wrap this up here probably in the next 20-ish minutes or so. So go ahead and enter in those last minute questions. Excited to put us on the hot seat. This is your time to shine, y'all. No, this is great. While we're waiting for some people to ask some questions, I'm curious to hear your thoughts on probably the biggest governor race. Maybe I'm a little biased because I'm from Florida, but it seems like there's a lot of interest in the governor race for Florida, specifically on the Republican side, because chances are, if whoever the Republican nominee is, that's the person that's going to end up winning. What are your
100%.
thoughts on Byron Donalds and James Fishback? I think those are the two biggest ones on that side.
I'm Byron.
Yeah.
Actually done some. Actually did for Byron back in the day when he was first running, and have a lot of respect for the man. I think he's a very well thought and centered person, and just well thought. Very, obviously very Christian and humble guy. I think you met too, so you understand.
Yep.
I think it'll be great for Florida. He shares a lot of Ron DeSantis's same values and visions, so I think he'll keep carry the torch that Ron started very well. We've had a great run with Ron here in Florida, and I think Byron's going to be the one that can keep it going.
Yeah. You have mentioned to me that you are not a fan of James Fishback. Is there specific reasons why that you're just not a fan of him?
So in the beginning, when Fishback came out and was trying to claim that he basically made it sound like it was his idea to get rid of property tax in Florida, and he was one behind it, when it was clearly already started by DeSantis and already ballot measure that he had nothing to do with, but he tried claiming credit for it. That really rubbed me the wrong way right there from the beginning. And then now, whenever you go on a post by Byron, you clearly see either paid people or bots that are just spamming everything with Byron with Fishback, and he's clearly taking a page out of the liberal playbook and trying to play dirty and using bots or paid protesters try and smear his way into office, and that doesn't sit right with me either. So
yeah, that's fair. That's a fair reason. There was one thing that just came out the other day that they had a little spat on social media. Of course, now they always take to social media to air out their problems. But they talked about, I believe it was some sort of anti-Semitic. I didn't really get to dive into it, but some sort of anti-Semitic law. Do you know what I'm talking about by chance? Have you seen that?
No, actually.
Okay, yeah, I have to still dive into it. I was hoping that you would know it.
I haven't seen that.
Yeah, I think it was just more kind of making. I'm not even going to talk on it because I don't 100% know yet. I just know that James Fishback criticizes Byron Donalds heavily for his Byron Donalds receiving funds from Israel. I know that's a big thing, but
so AIPAC is not Israel.
Okay. Yes, go ahead.
It is an Israeli American fund.
Yep.
Funded primarily by Americans who are either Jewish or Israeli. So it's not coming from Israel. So people muddy the water by trying to say, oh, he's taking money from Israel. No, he's not.
Right.
There's so many lobbies in the United States. So to say that you're a puppet just because you got a donation from somebody is...
Yeah. It wasn't even that much, too. That's the thing. Yeah. Normally, if you're going to attack them, it's because you received millions upon millions of dollars like Bernie Sanders with Big Pharma. But that's a topic for a different time.
Oh, yeah.
But from what I had seen, I think it was like 108,000. I think it may have even been less than that over his entire... I mean, he's been in office for now 8 years-ish.
Yeah.
So I don't think
that's a tiny amount.
Right. Exactly. I think that's the big thing. And yeah.
But that's that's the whole, Nick Fuentes has started this anti-Israel thing, and so that's what he's trying to do is play off of that and pull people away by saying, oh, he's in bed with Israel, and that's supposed to be a bad thing now, and he's trying to pull the conservatives away from him by doing that. And it's dirty, and it's not even true. So
right. And I mean, I don't know how you can really be a conservative and listen to Nick Fuentes half the time when he talks about how he doesn't like Trump, how he's against Trump, how he says to vote Democrat in the midterms. I mean, that doesn't sound like a very conservative person out there, or a person who shares my values. But
that right there, saying you should vote for a Democrat in the midterms, should tell you everything you need to know about the man.
Well, you know his reason why. Do you know his reason why?
He's saying it's basically to punish the Republicans to get them to understand his point of view, which that is just, it's asinine. It's asinine.
Yeah, 100%.
Yes, it's asinine.
100%. We do have a question here in the chat, so we'll go to that, and then we'll wrap it up here. Maybe we'll take one more question, but before I get to the question, not judge people by their covers. Not a fan of Fishback. APAC is American. Not a fan of it, but there are worse PACs out there. Yeah, I agree, and I think we should ban all lobbyists. That's my personal take. I don't know if you agree.
That's a whole different. That's a whole podcast right there, just talking about getting all the money out of politics, and I would be all for that. But
agreed.
Yeah.
But the question is thoughts on vaccines. I just wrapped up a podcast on that and had done some investigative journalism, if you will, on that note. I want to see if you have any thoughts. I know we had a conversation about it not too long ago. But your thoughts on vaccines? Do you agree with what the administration is doing and basically cutting out the fat of the vaccine, saying, hey, it's here. If you're maybe vulnerable for something, then get it, but you don't need to have a crazy amount of vaccines thrown at you. Maybe we can adopt something kind of like the European model. I'm curious to hear your thoughts on vaccines and what you think. Do you think they're truly rubbing their hands all evilly together, trying to get people?
Well, I think it's hilarious how, just what was it, 6-7 years ago, Democrats' biggest evil in the world was big pharma, and now they are like, oh, big pharma is great. Just take whatever they give you. If they say do it, just take it. Just don't ask them questions. Just take it. So it's amazing how they flip flop on that just because Trump said something. Now they're like, oh no, everything, take it all. Every drug is great. Take it. Don't ask any questions.
Tylenol.
Yeah, Tylenol. A whole bottle of Tylenol. That part I think is hilarious. But like anything you put in your body, there's going to be risks. So there's certain vaccines that are so important that everybody take, and we should take them, especially in schools, because going to go wild otherwise. Smallpox, measles, stuff like that. That is like truly deadly, and we need to get rid of them. But there's a lot of other ones that you start looking at and like, well, maybe this one shouldn't be required for everybody, and we can make people make their own decisions. Just having a better way to get the information out, because right now I think one of the problems is we don't do a whole lot of independent research on our own. We kind of let the big pharma do the research and then trust that it's right.
Yeah.
So with all drugs, we tested it. Yeah, trust us, it's good. And then, 10 years down the road, they're like, oh, I guess you got to sue us. And they still end up making a lot of money.
Yeah.
Even after lawsuits, because they build that into their build.
Yeah.
So, there's a lot in the system that we could work on with that, where, maybe we don't let the people who are making money off of it run the studies.
Yeah, 100%. You look at Coca-Cola. There was a study, I'm going to say the wrong year, so I'll just say 80s, 90s, where there's a study on sugar and what sugar does to your body. Does it have any benefits? Is it bad for you? How bad is it for you? Things like that. And Coca-Cola was actually the ones that funded that study. So already that the study's going to be just a little bit skewed coming from Coca-Cola, who loads up their drinks full of sugar. So it's things like that. There needs to be better transparency, more third parties involved, things like that. I would 100% agree with you on that. Like I said on my podcast, which if you've not watched it, it's a 5-part series. The final part comes out on Wednesday, so stay tuned for that. But what I have said about that is I'm not anti-vax. I think that's a rather silly view. I am pro smart vaccination, and I think that's basically what you're saying as well. Hey,
Oh yeah.
pick what is best for you and your family. I would say get the essential ones. Obviously, get your polio, get your rubella, get things that are actually very beneficial. And if you have chronic illnesses, or if you have something that you cannot fight off, or you might need additional assistance with, then okay, maybe get that vaccination. But don't just cram down a ridiculous vaccine schedule on the American people. Let you what is best for you and your family. I think that would be the best approach.
100%. There's got to be some nuance.
Yep.
Everything's become so binary where it's like either one or the other, and most things in the world have gray areas in them.
Yeah. Do you feel like polio and all those diseases and things might actually start coming back once we stop vaccinating ourselves?
I mean, that's always a possibility for 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it is. I think there's definitely been major strides in overall the medical field since then. So I can't say it's going to be a full-on outbreak out of a nightmare movie or a horror movie. But I think you would have to assume the risk of saying, hey, no more polio vaccines, no more, none of that. We're not going to mandate it anymore. That you're not going to not see pop-ups happen in the United States. So yeah, never feel like I have to take vaccines, but something tells me that once everyone stops taking them, I might actually have to start taking on top of it, because there might actually start being cases. Yeah, I mean, I think that's fair. You never know with that. For the most part, the really bad, deadly ones, we've obviously had amazing medical and amazing vaccines that have helped cure it and basically stop the spread. But some things I don't think are necessary, and I think we can pretty much all agree on that.
Yep.
All right, let's see. It is 9:05. We'll take one more question. Throw it in here, and then we'll go ahead and end it after that. So whoever asked the first question, you have the final word here to put us on the hot seat. Whatever it may be. It doesn't even have to be about politics. We'll try our best to answer it. Could be about Legos. I don't know. But yeah, go ahead and ask your final question here before we wrap it up. But again, it's been a great Monday. I'm drinking some tea right now.
What kind of tea drinking?
Honey. I'm drinking sage blueberry tea with some honey in it. So the honey, normally I drink a mint tea when I'm doing filming to help with the voice and everything. Charlie Kirk actually taught me that one. He drank a mint majesty with honey. And that's how he was able to get through talking with a lot of students and talking for hours. So I tried adopting that here on the podcast, and it definitely has helped. All right, here we go. This one, I don't know if you're going to know this one or not. Thoughts on Derek Chauvin being pardoned? Do you know who that is, by the way?
Yeah, he's the
Minneapolis
police officer. Yep.
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a good case for it. He was following protocol.
Yeah.
Following protocol. So how can you fault a man for, like, that was the protocol, that was what he was trained to do. He did exactly what he was trained to do. There was no intent. There was no maliciousness. So yeah, 100%.
Yeah, he should get pardoned. Ben Shapiro actually did and say all the things you want about Ben Shapiro. He did a fantastic 4-part series on this very issue and the case for pardoning Derek Chauvin. And I would agree, he should be pardoned. George Floyd. Yeah, I'm saying that right. I had to make sure.
Yep.
George Floyd did not die of a knee being put on his neck. He died of a drug overdose. That is in the autopsy. Yeah. So many things were wrong about that trial. They said that the public influence and death threats because they had leaked the members of the jury's addresses out there. There were so many things flawed with that case that went wrong. The public opinion definitely influenced the people in there. Yeah, without a doubt, he should be pardoned, and he should honestly, he should be fully pardoned from even state charges all the way up to federal charges. He should be a complete pardon. It's absolutely ridiculous what happened to him.
So they prevented him from using the argument that he was following protocol in court, right?
Yeah.
Which is absolutely ridiculous. What, like, you're as the defendant in the United States, you're supposed to have, you're supposed to have the right to defend yourself and bring any evidence that would exonerate you. And so why they narrowed it so much, other than they just wanted to get a conviction because, there was a political agenda. I mean, there's no other explanation for it.
Yep, 1,000%. All right, we got a few more comments, and then we'll go ahead and end it. Sooner the third world countries do have those diseases that we don't have. Yeah, a lot of them do. They don't have the medical capabilities and the medical assistance that we have here in the United States. What are you doing to celebrate Easter? Ooh, great question. I am going to, I don't really know what I'm doing for Easter, actually. Probably have a good brunch, go to church, if not listen to church. And yeah, I think that'll be about it. My grandpa is visiting me here, so I'll be saying goodbye to him on Easter morning. But overall, I'm going to be a very chill, relaxing, fun day. What about you? Any Easter plans?
I'm actually going down to Cape Coral tomorrow to my sister's house.
Oh, nice.
Hang out with her and probably stay through Easter. And
yeah. She's the one that asked the question. I don't know if you can see it or not, but
no, I can't see the question.
She was quizzing you. She was making sure that you were going to be there. And plans didn't change.
Yes.
But
yes, I'll still be there.
We need to stand up for him. He did his duty and got locked up. Yeah, 1,000%. And then the final comments of what appears to be the Knights is, yeah, Ben Shapiro opened my eyes on this, and he had a show with Charlie Kirk about it. Yeah, exactly. Ben Shapiro did a fantastic analysis on it. This is from quite a bit ago, probably about a year ago now, that he did a little 4-part series on his own platform about it, but it is worth a listen. Really goes into the details, just step by step on what all happened. So yeah, 100% Derek Chauvin, free Derek Chauvin. That may not be popular, but I think it's the right thing to do. And a lot of times the right thing to do is not always the most popular. We see it with Israel and Iran apparently right now, with public view only being 20% of people viewing this war favorably. But nonetheless, love you both. We love you too. Well, folks, that is all we have in store for tonight. Well, first of all, Kevin, it was great to have you on the show tonight. Thank you so much for joining.
It was great being here.
Yeah, absolutely. And just real quick, for people that want to find out more about you and your cooking and all the thousands of projects that you have going on a daily basis, where can they find you and where can they find out more about you?
So if you want to find my cooking, rocklobsterchefs.com. Also social media, Rock Lobster Chefs. I do have some articles that I've been writing too about some of the space stuff we talked about tonight, like Artemis program and the new space race. And you'll be able to find that coming up on martinmedia.com, martinmediallc.com shortly. So there'll be some really nice article about covering the entire history of the space program, Artemis, the new space race, China, the fight between Blue Origin and SpaceX, and all that stuff. We got a lot of great stuff, so there'll be some great content on it too.
Yep. Well, you heard him here, folks. Be sure to go ahead and follow him. And well, first of all, if you're going to follow him, just keep in mind that if you're hungry, do not swipe past one of his posts, because it's only going to make it worse. And you're probably, I don't know what's going to happen, but I do offer those words of caution. But other than that, I want to thank you all so much for taking time out of your busy Mondays to be here, a part of this. Thank you all so much. God bless you all. This has been another great edition of the Martin Memo Monday. Be sure to stay tuned on Wednesday as I drop the 5th and final episode on my thoughts against all the terrible scents and fragrances and food and everything that is hidden behind some labels. So be sure to stay tuned for that. And then Friday, I have a really great interview with a local entrepreneur who's running a country or not running a country, excuse me, running a company nationwide. So be sure to stay tuned for that. But without further ado, Kevin, thank you again. God bless you all, and thank you for taking time. This has been the Martin Memo.